Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another live stream. Have we got a lot going on? A lot has happened in the last 90 minutes, and we're going to talk about what is happening currently right now as I do this video, and what we've been anticipating now for several days. Man, things lit up this afternoon quick and fast and furious, and they're still going on. What's going on having coffee with common sense? You get notified every time, and I'm glad to see that. Make sure you guys hit the like button, please. That pushes the video out there as far as we possibly can. Danielle R., thank you very much for stopping by. You guys may or may not have heard, child of God, we've got a big volcanic eruption on top of Mount Kilauea, bigger than normal. I mean, there's actually 3 lava fountains going on right now as I do this video. Susan and Donna D, Star family members. We also had an event today, and we've been anticipating this activity. This isn't really no surprise. What surprised me is it took so long to occur. And we're not done yet. It's just getting started with the planetary alignment, which we've been talking about now off and on this week. If you guys have been following these live streams, we've been talking about the possibility of large earthquakes. We've been talking about the possibility of large solar flares, and all of that stuff has happened this afternoon in a matter of minutes. There was a large M8 class solar flare. In fact, it's right there, that occurred at 2030 Universal Time. Check this out. This is no coincidence. See the 2030? Okay, that's when the M8 solar flare peaked, sending a shockwave through the Earth. The Earth was consumed with it, especially over here on the daylight side of the Earth that faces the sun out here in the Pacific Ocean. Well, guess what happened 11 minutes later following the massive solar tsunami, and it created a tsunami on the surface of the sun. I'll show you guys that. At 2041, 11 minutes later, the solar tsunami was still going on. And the shock wave created a 7.0 magnitude earthquake right here. They're calling it in Yakutat, Alaska. 7.0. It started out as a 6.7, then it went up to a 6.8. In fact, I think I have it right here. Yeah, there you go. It started out right here as a 6.8, actually a 7. Then it went to an 8, and then to a 7.0. So this thing has progressively gotten stronger and stronger. You can see there's a series of strong aftershocks right over here in the area of the 7.0. There's been a 5.0 aftershock, 4.7, 5.1, yet another 4.7, a 4.3, and a 4.1. But again, I can't emphasize enough the power that the Earth is being surrounded with right now. And it's not done yet. It's just getting started. I had no idea what was keeping the sun in check. I really didn't. These solar sunspots and active regions, I mean, they literally are primed for action. Look at that. It's got the kickers. Now it's got 2 kickers. See that little strip right there? When that goes, man, it goes. But you know what? These are still quiet. They're ready. You know where the solar tsunami occurred? Right up here. 4299. Yes, sent shock waves rippling through the surface of the sun, which in turn sent shock waves through the solar system, triggered the 7.0 with multiple aftershocks. And not only that, let me show you something else. Right out here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is Hawaii, right? Look what's going on the big island of Hawaii. Absolutely going berserk right now. Look at that. You can't make this stuff up. We knew the energy was there. We knew it was headed towards the Earth. Guys, it's just getting started. That is a massive lava fountain at the top of Mount Kilauea. And there's not just one. There's at least 3 now. Started out with 2. Here's looking at it from the east. Look at that. It's throwing lava all over the place. Mount Kilauea is going nuts right now. Make sure you hit the like button, guys. It sends the video out there a little bit farther. I sure do appreciate it. And hope you're having a good Saturday. It is a action-packed Saturday. And guys, the action is just getting started. Look at the size of this lava fountain right here when it's really got cranked up. There was fountain number 2 and 3 right there, and now I believe there's 4. Sending lava probably 1,000 feet, if not farther. That's That's at least 1,000 feet. Unbelievable. Mount Kilauea is going nuts. The Earth is really feeling the energy. And like I said, this is just getting started. These sunspots in active regions are loaded with what they call beta, gamma, delta magnetics. You have to have beta, gamma, and delta magnetics in order to have X-class solar flares. And we just saw an M-class solar flare. I thought it was going to reach the X plateau, but it was just underneath. I'm confident we're going to see probably at least one, maybe two X-class solar flares here in the probably next 24 to 48 hours. But again, Mount Kilauea, here's the split view. You can see looking from the east and looking from the west. Look at all the fountains up here. Are you serious right now? Look at that. I mean, Kilauea is going absolutely crazy right now. So the energy's real. There was even an earthquake over in the UK, actually two. From what I understand, obviously it's not listed on this map, there was an earthquake in southern Scotland. Not a big one, of course. It was small, like this one here. This was a 3.3, maybe a 3.4, depending on who you ask. But that was in the northwestern UK. And then there was one in southern Scotland. So we're seeing earthquakes in highly unusual places. We saw the big 7.0 that just occurred with multiple aftershocks up here in the Alaska, Canada area, right up there where Alaska and Canada meet. Let's go in a little closer. And there's where the 7.0 occurred, right there, coming in at about 5 kilometers deep. Looking at the seismographs, check this out. Yeah, we've been following this here too. Mount Rainier. These volcanoes sense all of this activity, especially when we get into these unique planetary alignments like we're in right now. These volcanoes feel it. They're like, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, sensors or something like that. They can sense the energy. I want to show you guys the seismograph. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oregon. Look at Oregon. The seismograph over here in Oregon went straight vertical. That's why they increased it from a 6.7 to a 6.8 to a 7.0. The seismographs were showing a very strong signal. Down here, look at it over in Norway. Norway felt the 7.0. Norway! That's over in the Eastern Hemisphere. Oh yeah. Russia, right there showing up on the seismograph. Kazakhstan, you can just barely see it right there. That's the primary wave making its rounds all the way around the world. How about that? I'm not surprised by Russia because Russia's right next door. South Dakota, right there, you can see it peek the chart out. Of course, it's right next door too. Let me refresh this because it's probably got new data. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Kiribati, Taiwan, Mexico. What? Nah, that can't be the 7. Is that the 7.0? I guess it is. Oh, wow. Making the rounds. That's the primary wave from the 7.0 that was a shallow quake coming in at a mere 10 kilometers, right around 5 miles deep. Yeah, right at 5 miles deep. Close enough. And again, the shock wave and the M8 solar flare were 11 minutes apart from the 7.0 magnitude earthquake. And then, of course, the activity, the high octane activity up here at the summit of Mount Kilauea. Wow, Jade Green, 64. That is some action right there. You know, I was watching Kilauea early this morning around 6 o'clock. And it started to just rumble down here in this little bitty area right here. It was just kind of bubbling, you know what I mean? It was making itself known. It was 3 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning here in Arizona. And it looked like it was going to take off and possibly do something today. It was just kind of getting ramped up, you know what I mean? And then sure enough, this afternoon, well, 1 o'clock Arizona time, 10 o'clock Hawaii time, this thing started throwing a fit. And here's the first thing that it did right here. It produced a double fountain. Once it really started to slinging the lava, there's the secondary and there's the primary. And then right here is what you see. Wow, visible from all directions. I mean, it is throwing lava. Look at that. Hundreds and hundreds of feet. That one there's probably 1,000 feet. Unbelievable. And it's not uncommon to see Mount Kilauea create a lava fountain. You know, it's been very active for several years. It's just, this is exceptional. This is quite exceptional. The smoke plume is massive. Yeah, this is a huge eruption, and I'm not surprised. It's in conjunction with the solar tsunami that created a shock wave that was absorbed by the Pacific Ocean side of the Earth, which triggered a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. And we've been waiting on this energy now for days, at least all week long. Once the sunspots right here started facing the Earth, they're facing the Earth this very minute. These here have been quiet. They haven't done a thing. So those there could easily put off a huge X-ray or a very large solar flare. They're primed for it, absolutely, with a large CME. You can see the data starting to show up over here at the LASCO C2 and C3. And I saw another debris field over here on the LASCO C3. Did you guys see that? It was small, but there was another debris field right there. Let's back it up. Right there. Where's this debris coming from? Right there. Look at that. That's picked up on the wide field of view. It wasn't picked up over here on the closer field of view, but there was yet another example of a debris field. I wanted to check this here and see if it had updated. Here's the solar tsunami. Check it out. You want to see the tsunami ripple through the atmosphere of the sun? There you go. Okay, watch right here. This is the location of this is the epicenter of the M8 solar flare. Watch around the solar flare. You're going to see plasma go out in all directions like a wave. See the wave right there ripple through the atmosphere right there. See it ripple? See it go up into here? You'll see it highlight here, and then it ripples through the surface of the sun right through there. That's called a solar tsunami. And right after that occurred, there was a 7.0 magnitude earthquake here on the Earth. Right after that event, right there it was. There was your tsunami right there, right there. See it again, right there. There was your solar tsunami. Triggered an earthquake. That's no coincidence. And that was call that a double decker. Even though it occurred in the course of maybe 4 hours, that's still a double decker in my book. Even though they weren't super close together, they were close enough for me. And there's more to come, guys. We've got fountains being, look at that. Oh my gosh, that is unbelievable. Kilauea is going crazy today. Oh my gosh, look at that. Kilauea is throwing a fit. It is almost high noon in Hawaii, on the big island of Hawaii, and that's obviously where Mount Kilauea is at. Look at that. It's like a fire hose of lava. When it's underground, it's called magma. When it's above ground, right there when it breaches the surface, it becomes lava. And it's creating new Earth. The big island is getting bigger. Yes, it's getting bigger, literally. You're watching creation be created. There you go. Now we're seeing smoke over here. We're starting to see a little bit of activity. It's starting to create a new crater. Man, it's hot. Action is hot on Kilauea today. Oh, wow. Look at that. I mean, it's on a terror. It's a rampaging today. Go, Kilauea, go. It's been quiet, too, for about, 4 days now, 5 days. Kilauea's, it's just been sitting up there kind of simmering. Yeah. Man, it is feeling the squeeze. And what I mean by the squeeze is this right here. Earth is in the big squeeze right now, guys. Yeah, it's no coincidence that we're having earthquakes and we're coming out of the full moon. We're in the middle of a unique planetary alignment between massive gas giants. Oh, yeah. And we've got massive sunspots facing the Earth. Shock waves interacting with the Earth right here. There it is. There's the shock wave from the M8. And there's your earthquake right there with a swarm. And volcanoes erupting. That's how it works. It's showing us how all this works step by step. And it's doing it very, very quickly. Today it did it very fast. We had to wait. We've been waiting for several days. But that's how it does it right there. There you go. Earth Mechanics 101. It's showing us. Thank you, Earth. Thank you, Sun. We appreciate that. We kind of figured you were about ready to unleash some activity, and sure enough, this afternoon it did. And you're looking at Kilauea put on quite a show. And yes, Kilauea erupts a lot, yeah, but it's not quite this dramatic. Whoa, not this dramatic at all. Here's the east view. I'm sorry, the south view, and this is the west view. I mean, it's tearing it up there right now. Wow. Kilauea is feisty today, feeling the energy. And once again, guys, the solar tsunami was 11 minutes prior to the 7.0 magnitude earthquake. 11 minutes prior to the earthquake. That is triggering seismographs all around the world. In fact, look at them. There's your 7.0 primary wave. There's primary waves and then there's secondary waves. That's the primary wave from the big earthquake that obviously was created or following the large M8 solar flare, shockwave, volcanoes erupting. We're seeing it in real time. It's happening. I can't get over Kilauea. Man, that is one feisty volcano today, and I'm hearing from credible sources that Iceland, the volcanoes up there, may be on the brink of doing something, I don't know if quite this intense, but yeah, Iceland volcanoes are primed and ready for action. That's what I'm hearing. Here comes the solar tsunami. Once again, watch right up here. Right there, there it went. Shockwave went right there. Went rippling through the atmosphere of the sun. There's Mount Rainier up there, just still rattling, rumbling, and rolling. Mount Rainier. There's K1 Atlas that's leaving the solar system. 3I still in the solar system. Wow, we're getting ready to see another fountain open up here possibly. So that means the summit, the crater at the summit could be getting bigger. I think it is getting bigger, you want to know the truth. Whoa. Kilauea is hot today. And you know, there's a viewing area not far from here. I think it's obviously over on this side. If you're on the big island, you can actually go and get within, I think maybe 300 yards, maybe 400 yards of the summit. Yeah. I mean, this is about as close as we can get. This is an absolutely spectacular view. It's been doing this for the better part of an hour. I mean, I've been taking screen grabs like when it first started. This is when it first started. Look at that. And that's when I knew, when it started slinging that lava that far, I was like, wow, this is going to be a doozy. Then it went even farther. Looked like a fire hose right there. I was like, well, here we go. This is what we've been waiting on. And guys, it's not a surprise. We anticipated this. We've been talking about this. The possibility of increased volcanic activity, the possibility of large earthquakes, the possibility of large solar flares. And it all happened within a matter of a few hours, just today. Yeah, and it's going to happen again. No, this is just getting started. It's just getting warmed up, man. Look at that. Looks like a tidal wave of lava. You wouldn't want to be anywhere near that. That just happened at 9:46 Hawaii time. That would be 12:46 Arizona time. Look at that. Talk about a tsunami of lava at the summit of Mount Kilauea. You can't make this stuff up. You don't have to. Just be halfway alert and pay attention to your surroundings and what's going on. There's going to be more earthquakes, guys. That's just the beginning. The only problem is, you just don't know where. There's another aftershock right there. Just happened, there's another aftershock right there. Another one there, 3.9 and a 4.2 that just happened. So now we have 12 earthquakes that have occurred here in a matter of 90 minutes. Volcanoes throwing huge fits, and they say that Iceland may be getting ready to go. There's activity at least up in some of the magma's on the move up in the Iceland area. And who knows with the activity here in the Ring of Fire, and that's where this energy was absorbed. In the Ring of Fire. So it doesn't take too much to get the Ring of Fire stirred up anyway. That right there will pretty much guarantee it. And it did. So you got volcanoes erupting and earthquakes happening within miles of each other, or at least they're in the same hemisphere. You can draw a straight line on a map between Hawaii and the location of that earthquake. It's no coincidence all this stuff is happening once again because of The big squeeze. You got it. And the full moon. You always have to factor in the full moon when you're dealing with planetary alignments. You have to factor in the energy of the full moon, because the full moon, you guys know, it controls the motion of the ocean, the tides and stuff like that. That's giving you proof, 100% proof that the moon influences the Earth. Look at the ocean. That's all the farther you got to look. Those waves are influenced by the moon. So the whole Earth is influenced by the moon. So factor in the sun, which everything's influenced by the sun. The sun's the main character of all this. Yeah, it's creating all this energy. Yeah. If the sun wasn't here, this probably wouldn't even be happening. The sun's got it all stirred up. Oh yeah. You bet it does. Holy cow. It is throwing a massive fit today. Massive. Big Island's getting bigger. The Big Island's getting bigger. You're watching creation, creating. That's what we're doing today. Watching creation being created. There you go. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That was probably 500 foot in the air. It's still raining ash over there. Look at the size of that. That's the South View V3 cam at the summit of Mount Kilauea. Whoa! That is shocking. That's a tsunami right there of lava. Just raining down from the sky. And it's so big, the camera needs to be back another 500 yards to get the whole thing in the picture. Look at that. This is nuts. And it's just getting started, guys. Just getting started. Oh, yeah. Like I said, these sunspots right here have been eerily quiet. And that's coming from a professor. A professor of astrophysics says these are eerily quiet. That comes straight from a professor. Yeah. So those we've been following since the 24th on the backside of the sun over here. We're at right here. We've been following that active region of sunspots right here on the backside of the sun. So all of a sudden, when those sunspots start facing the Earth, they get very quiet. So that's why, it's so perplexing. It's like, okay, why did they just kind of like, they're still beta gamma delta. Beta gamma delta is always active, usually, but they're quiet. They're just super, super quiet. But the Earth is not. The Earth is showing us earthquakes today, massive volcano eruptions, and it's just getting started, guys. This is going to go on for a while. Oh, yeah. Going to be a busy week, busy weekend. Might see some more earthquake activity this evening, but the problem with that is, it's more than likely going to happen. You just don't know where. I'm glad this one happened where it did. Hopefully there's doesn't look like there's any densely populated cities or anything right there. So if we have to have a 7.0, which we're going to have, and there's going to be more in the future, that's just how all this works. It's unavoidable. Hopefully they'll all be in places where there's no populated areas. That would be a perfect world, right? But we don't live in a perfect world. None of us are perfect and nothing's perfect. But we're starting to understand how all this stuff kind of works, Seeing some smoke over there. We got triple plumes up here. This one here is having a hard time. This camera right here. Oh, there you go. You can see 1, 2, 3 fountains right there. I just backed it up a little bit right there to noon Arizona time. This is right when it first started throwing a fit. Wow. You got to admit, parts of the Earth are very beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. It really is. It's hot. You wouldn't want to get anywhere near it. That humans could not have anything to do with that, obviously. But it's beautiful. You got to admit. Creation, creating. It's a beautiful thing, man. And I love it. I love watching it. I love studying it. And I have studied this for many, many years. And the thing of it is, about the time you think you got something figured out, it'll go change on you. Yep. You don't live long enough to fully understand how all this works. No, you do not. It's been doing this a long, long time. And we're here only a blink of an eye compared to its existence. So we can kind of have a vague understanding of how all this stuff works, but there's nobody, I mean nobody, that lives long enough to fully have a comprehensive understanding of how the sun works exactly, because we don't know what the sun's fully capable of doing. How are we going to know what the sun's capable of doing in 60 years and it's been doing it for 5 billion? Come on, man. We're guessing. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully there's not an X100 solar flare. We think that the Carrington event was a X45 based off the equipment we had in 1859 and how the Earth managed the energy. They're assuming it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of X45. So we know it's at least capable of that, but what it's done 5 billion years prior to that, I don't think anybody was here taking measurements, so nobody really knows. So, you know, we can pretend like we know, but at the end of the day, we really don't. The sun could totally shed a layer today, and it would be a surprise. Oh, well, we thought maybe it could. Yeah, we thought maybe it could do a lot of things. Look at the size of that fountain. It is thick. It is just relentless. Look at that, man. You're seeing creation create. Big Island is getting bigger as we speak. Yeah. Beautiful thing, man. Any new earthquakes? They showed up. They sure did. And guys, here's the thing. There's going to be, it's a little bit too early to tell. I'm 99% confident that the solar flare itself was right there. Thank you, Rhonda Peterson. Love from Arizona, right back at you. Thank you, California. California in the house. Yeah, the thing of it is, this X flare was definitely Earth-directed, okay? Sometimes we have to get the official confirmation from NOAA, and we're patiently waiting, but they have to wait too on the satellite processing and stuff like that. We do know it was right there. Right there is where it originated from. And it did create right there a solar tsunami. It sent shock waves right there through the atmosphere of the sun. That energy has to be Earth-directed. There's nowhere else it can go. So yes, it is going to come towards the Earth. The LASCO instruments will show us that here in probably a couple hours. But more than likely, let's see what they're saying over here at Space Weather. They're waiting too. They don't have any information yet either, because we're still waiting on the data to be analyzed. That's all. Wow, Kilauea is rocking today. Woo! The Big Island's getting more real estate today. Not anything that's going to be usable for any time in the foreseeable near future, but it's getting bigger. Yeah. I remember when the Big Island, Mount Kilauea, erupted back in 2018. The lava flow was headed towards the southwest into the island. And it did make the island, as it was going into the ocean and solidifying, a little bit bigger. Yes, it did. The way Jesus Christ. It's a process. You're right, the way is Jesus Christ. It is a process. You are right. But none of us, unfortunately, understand the process completely. We think we do, but we don't. We don't. We kind of can connect some dots, though. Absolutely. We knew with the big squeeze coming on right there. That's the big squeeze. You're looking at it up close and personal, the big squeeze, including the full moon. The Earth feels all that energy, and it reacts like what we're seeing right here. It's reacting to the energy in the form of volcanoes erupting, large earthquakes, and shock waves being absorbed by the Pacific Ocean. You bet. That's what's going on. And these sunspots down here at the bottom and down just below the equator, they've been very quiet. Nothing's came out of those yet. And those are the ones that were creating all the ruckus on the backside of the sun last week. And they were doing it practically every day, every other day. Some sort of large CME coming off the backside of the sun every, 24 hours or so, and sometimes less. Now that they're facing the Earth, they've gotten quiet, but they're not lulling me to sleep. I'm watching them like a hawk, because I know what they're capable of doing. Kilauea is showing us what it's capable of doing. Woo! That's probably visible from satellite imagery, I'm sure. That is a very impressive eruption. Not only one, but there's like 3 fountains, maybe 4 up there today. And normally, you know, because I keep an eye on Kilauea all the time. I keep it open on my desktop, to be honest. Usually there's just one. There's just one fountain. When it erupts, there's just one fountain. It creates a lava flow. And, you know, it's a pretty sight, but it's not something I sit there and dwell on. We've all seen volcano eruptions. This one here is exceptional today. Yep, very persistent. Sometimes these things will just erupt and then stop. Like we see down in Indonesia and the southern Pacific, we'll see these big dramatic eruptions that'll send, you know, ash plumes 5, 6, 7 miles up into the sky. And then they get quiet. You know, you don't see this type of continuous lava fountain activity like this. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Guys, today's Saturday, December 6th, and before you know it, it'll be Friday again. Friday's right around the corner. Every time we turn around, it's Friday, right? Look at that. Falling from the sky. The big islands are getting bigger. Courtesy of Mount Kilauea. Can't forget about Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea, though, there on the big island. 2 massive volcanoes. That observatories are on the top of, by the way. That's what you call, they call that the best seat in the house, other than along the west coast of Chile. There's several observatories down along the west coast of Chile, but there's also observatories on top of the quiet volcanoes here on the Big Island because of their dark skies out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But the skies are going to be interfered with tonight because of the heavy activity up here at Mount Kilauea, and I'm talking a lot of activity. Got the sky filled with smoke, at least now. Will it remain there tonight? I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. These things don't have a specific timer. They can go on for a few hours or a few days, you just never know. But we did see the earthquake, and we've seen earthquakes in strange places too, over here in the northern United Kingdom and southern Scotland of all places. Here's a look at the seismograph. Guess where this one's at? Mount Hood. People ask me, are you looking at the other volcanoes up in Washington? Yes, I am. This is Mount Hood. Here's Mount St. Helens. See the intense, right? See the intense frequency right there? That's as the full moon was waning right there. Full moon waning right there. So was it feeling the full moon? Probably so. Here's Mount Rainier. All those volcanoes are in the Pacific Northwest, the Pacific Seismic Network right there. So for whatever reason, Rainier, Hood, and St. Helens all had that familiar signature. Yeah, they sure did. It's a similar signature, you know, to me it looks like magma on the move, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is. Magma on the move can make that type of signature on a seismograph. Absolutely. And if there's a seismograph up here at the summit of Mount Kilauea, it's going to show heavy vibrations just like that. Sure. That's what it's supposed to do. That's why it's there. It's there to detect energy. It's there to detect movement. Those seismographs on those volcanoes are detecting movement. Whether it's coming from the volcano, the ground, the sky, I don't know. But they're definitely detecting something. They're just simply doing their job. That's just what they do. Just because they're showing, you know, anomalous looking energy like that doesn't mean it's a glitch all the time. There's, like I said, Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens. So they're all feeling something. Maybe it's the big squeeze. Maybe it's the planetary alignment and the full moon and the hot sun and everything that's going on. The sun's hot right now. It really is. The sun's always hot. I didn't mean it. Literally, the Earth-facing side of the sun is loaded with beta, gamma, delta sunspots, and they are more than capable of producing M-class solar flares. In fact, we saw one today, an M8, and it looks like to me it's getting ready to go back up again. And if it does, obviously they're Earth-directed. Anything that comes from those regions is Earth-directed. So Earth's going to absorb that energy. We'll probably see more volcanoes acting like this somewhere else on Earth. Maybe not quite this dramatic, but you never know. and more earthquake activity and geomagnetic storms. Don't forget about that, because right now, looking at the planetary K index right here, it's quiet. That's definitely going to change because of this. That Earth-directed solar tsunami, M8 solar flare that produced a solar tsunami right here was definitely Earth-directed. Here it is one more time. Right there. And then it created the ripple effect through the atmosphere of the sun. Right now, this is all quiet, but probably within 48 hours, not within 48 hours, just outside of 48 hours, we'll see a geomagnetic storm here on the Earth of some capacity. That was a strong one, though. It just depends on what type of solar CME it produced. And you know what? Sometimes solar flares, just because it's a big solar flare, like that one was almost an X, it was an M8, they don't always produce solar CMEs, or coronal mass ejections. Not always. Most of the time they do, but not always. Man, Kilauea is throwing an absolute hissy fit today. Whoa! Go Kilauea, go! The big island's getting bigger today. Oh yeah. Saw an M7. It started off as an M6.7, then an M8.68, and then an M7.0. Magnitude earthquake. Let's look at the seismograph, see if they're turning black. They sure enough are. See the black signature? That's from the earthquake that just occurred. Yeah, the seismographs. Those are shock waves felt all around the world. Yep. Primary wave. Earth rang like a bell. Is ringing like a bell. So is the sun. Sun up there dealing with tsunamis of its own. We're not dealing with any tsunamis, but the primary wave rang the Earth like a bell. Look at it changing direction just a little bit. Look at that. That's a big old lava fountain, guys. Go Kilauea, go. Wow. Well, the action's getting started. There's our big earthquake, number one. There could be more than that one. We'll have to wait and see how this all unfolds over the course of, the sunspots that are facing the Earth right now. They're going to be here for at least, even once they get over here on the western limb of the sun, they're still connected to the Earth. There's still a magnetic connection over here on the western side. Even this one here, 4302 and 4301, those are still magnetically connected to the Earth. Just because they're almost out of the field of view doesn't mean they're not magnetically connected. So these here will be magnetically connected to the Earth for at least another 6 days, at least. And that's not including what's coming around the eastern limb. So solar activity is going to be high for the next several days, maybe the next couple of weeks. Volcanic activity is more than likely going to be on the increase. We just exited the full moon. The Earth's reeling from that. The Earth always feels that. And you know what? Every living creature on the Earth feels the energy of the full moon. It's unavoidable. If you live on Earth and Earth is your home address, you're feeling the energy of the full moon. It's unavoidable. Just like the Earth, it's unavoidable for the Earth to miss this energy that's sent through the solar system by the sun. Right there is proof that the Earth absorbed that energy. It's unavoidable. So if you're a human on this Earth, you felt the energy too. You just didn't know it. Some of us react to it in different ways. Everybody's made differently. No two people have ever walked the Earth with the same fingerprint, palm print, handprint. No people living have the same fingerprint, palm print. No people ever to live will have the same fingerprints and palm prints. So everybody responds to this type of energy differently. Everybody's the same. I did a study a long time ago, the sun and you, 10 years ago. Right here it is, the sun and you. I did that study 10 years ago. And I was connecting dots, or at least attempting to connect dots. It's going to take a small army to do it. I tried to do it on my own, and it was just way too much information to keep track of on my own. But I was trying to connect the dots on how people react to coronal holes and the raw energy of the surface of the sun energy bathing the Earth, because when it bathes the Earth, when we're inside the stream of a high-speed solar wind from a coronal hole, That's raw star power, baby, and you can't get any more pure than that. So people react to that type of energy differently. You know, and I'm not necessarily saying in nefarious ways, but you may have sleep deprivation, or you maybe sleep too much. You may be extra hungry, maybe moody. You know, it just affects everybody differently, and it depends on your XY chromosome, whether you're male or female, how old you are, where you live. Just a whole big thing, and it's a huge study that you know, way more than just one person's going to be able to do. But I did connect some dots. Yes. Yeah, you just do surveys, and you can just ask people how they're feeling when you know a coronal hole is facing the Earth, and just log the responses that you get. And I did connect some dots. And one other thing that was included was blood type. Your blood type makes a difference on how you react to this energy. The Earth is always going to react the same for the most part. Not exactly the same. The Earth is the Earth, you know. But yeah, it's a big field of study that requires way more than one person. But I did learn a lot, though. I sure did. Kilauea is throwing a fit. There goes a bird right there. Are you serious? What are you doing up there, little guy? Man, there's nothing up there to eat or drink. You better fly on back down the mountain. There was a bird that just flew through up there. Wow. Ooh, look. Look over here. Oh, man. Look at that. Seeing new cracks. New fissures right now. Look at that. Oh, man. That's first time I've seen that in a long time. I think that's the first time I've seen that. Wow. This crater might be about to get bigger. Look at that. Seeing new fissures, smoldering fissures up there. Okay. Let's go. As long as everybody's safe, bring it on. Yeah. As long as everybody's safe, bring it. It's all good. Yeah, Kilauea has put on a show today, guys. You know how much lava has come up out of that crater today? Whoa. That's all I can say is just whoa, a lot. So anyway, to recap, here's another look from the south, looking at the summit of Mount Kilauea. That looked like a tidal wave of lava coming up out of the ground. Comes up out of the ground right when it breaches the surface of the Earth, it becomes lava. When it's underground, in the magma chambers, it's magma. Above the surface, it's lava. Boy, that's really slinging it. And that's dense, too. That is a very, very dense fountain. Putting on a show today. Absolutely. Here's the planetary alignment. This is just from a couple of days ago, but this is basically where we're at right now. Jupiter right here, Earth in the middle of the Sun and Jupiter, Mars, Venus, all in the mix. Actually, Mercury's right there, too. So look at Mercury as a little transistor right there. A little capacitor, a relay. Look at Mercury as a relay. You follow me? Right angular momentum and a relay right there. So there's your relay. Sun being the main capacitor. It too has right angular momentum. Follow me? Okay, there you go. Think. That's a big capacitor. This is a big circuit board up here. Look at it as a circuit board. Look at these things as capacitors and transistors and relays and a transformer up here. It's energy. Energy's flowing through here. And sometimes, if the Earth is in just the right spot, yes, I made this banner, gets put in the big squeeze, and see the energy coming out from the Earth? The Earth is a source of energy too, you know. Earth is alive and well, as you can clearly see. So the Earth is a source of energy too. That's why all this happens. The Earth is alive and well. So right now, the K index is quiet. This would tell us if there's an ongoing geomagnetic storm. Right now, there are none. It's way too early. The M8 solar flare just kicked off right there, as you can see, at 2030 Universal Time. Sent a shock wave towards the Earth that was absorbed by the Pacific Ocean, the big O shock wave. And there's Hawaii right there, and Mount Kilauea right here, throwing a fit. But following the large M8 solar flare, solar tsunami, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake right there on the edge of the Pacific Ring of Fire. All right. Right here. Right up in there. And then, of course, the volcano that's erupting is obviously right in the middle of all this, right there. I'm sorry, right there. And the earthquake was up there. It's no coincidence. There's no such thing as a coincidence, man. No way. The big squeeze. And man, Earth is leaking like a sieve right now. But anyway, we've been waiting. We've been waiting patiently. Here it is. It's just getting started. Just getting started. Here's another look at when it started. Today, when it started really slinging that lava. Boy, it was throwing it probably 1,000 feet when it first started. I was looking at that and I'm like, wow, here we go. And then once it really kicked off, we had the solar tsunami, the earthquake, the volcanic activity. It's been an eventful afternoon, to say the least, and it's probably going to remain busy for several days, guys. These sunspots that are facing the Earth, once again, have been very quiet. These down here, these are the ones that are anticipated to be the overachievers, not up here. I mean, this one right here just produced an M8. You look at that and you're like, what? How? It did. Yes, it certainly did. These down here could easily produce an M8 with no problem. A little hiccup would be an M8. Just a little hiccup. Oh. So we'll have to wait and see what is Earth-directed and what isn't. I know there's an Earth-directed component. Yeah, we figured that out from looking at the location of the solar flare right there. Just above the equator, there's the solar tsunami right there. It was a big one too. Went sprawling down the southern and northern hemisphere. So that was a strong event. Absolutely. Earth felt it. It felt it 100%. It is astounding when you think about it, Susan. It is very astounding. All this stuff happens for a reason. It's not a coincidence. And I've studied this for so many years and you know, because I wanted to learn. I wanted to connect these dots, you know. And I have learned a lot all these years. I really have. I've studied earthquake activity as far back as record keeping goes. And with planetary alignments, I have. And I connected a lot of dots. So I don't just, you know, put together little graphs like this for fun. I've made that for a reason, because I learned something when I studied 150 years worth of data. I learned something. Yes, I did. And I'm sharing that with you guys. That's all. So anyway, we're looking at Mount Kilauea, showing us what it's made of today. Putting on a heck of a show. And like I said, I've got a video. I don't have it, actually, yeah, I don't have it ready because the volcano started erupting in an incredible fashion. But this is when it first started this morning. This would have been around, I don't know, 8:30 Hawaii time, I think. Something like that. I don't know. It started in the middle of the night, around 3 o'clock in the morning, Hawaii time. And it's just been steadily increasing since then. Yeah. It's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. And then we had the solar tsunami, the M8 solar flare, the 7.0 earthquake, and then all of this happening at the same time is not a coincidence. No way. There's no such thing. It's all part of the big squeeze. The stage is being set. We talked about that several days ago. Remember, the stage is being set. Here's your characters. There's your volcano activity. There's your solar flare. There's your earthquake. There's your characters that are on the stage. They finally used their lines today. I guess they've been practicing their lines for the last 5 days, and here they are. They've learned their lines, and they're on the stage performing for us today. Yes. That's the cast of characters that we were talking about. The stage was definitely set. And these characters have shown up today, and they've learned their lines, and they're speaking to us loud and clear, and they ain't going anywhere for a while. They like being on the big stage, so they're going to be here for a few days. But these sunspots here, these are the ones that we're watching, and we've been watching, and surprisingly, they've been surprisingly quiet. And I have a feeling once they do show up to the stage and do their thing, wow, you could see a very large X-flare from any one of those sunspots. Absolutely. They're more than capable of producing an X-flare. So yeah, waiting on that activity. That's another one of the cast of characters that has not shown up yet. And then they're one of the main characters. Yep. Kilauea showed up today. Wow, wow, wow. Did Kilauea ever show up? Ended up being one of the main characters. And the solar tsunami. And that'll probably crank up the jet stream. So look for a crank in the jet stream. Weather changes coming up the next few days. Aftershocks galore over here. Look at all the aftershocks. Up to 20, well, no, those aren't aftershocks. These are aftershocks. Wait a minute. Those are aftershocks. Right there. 19. The primary, and then 18. So 18 aftershocks right now and counting. Then there's been a steady flow of earthquakes at the bottom of Mount Kilauea, and some up near the summit too. But I remember after it erupted in 2018, there were thousands of earthquakes at the summit and the base of Mount Kilauea. Literally thousands. In a week's time, there would be over 4,000 earthquakes steady. And that went on for months. That went on for months. And there's still earthquakes out there right now. They're smaller ones, under 5, primarily under 4. In fact, the vast majority of them under 3. But that's all part of a active volcano, you know, it just goes along with it. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure spending part of your Saturday afternoon with me. What's going on over there, Tina, Mary, James? Good to see everybody here today. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. I know the weather's been nice here in Arizona. It was like 40 degrees this morning, 37 yesterday morning. That feels good, I ain't gonna lie. Compared to 115, give me the 37s and 40s. Trish Killian. Good to see everybody. Trish is a Star family member. If you guys want to become Star family members, click on the link down in the description box. Wow, thank you for all the likes, guys. Appreciate that. 1.2K likes. Good for you. Yay. Thank you for the likes, guys. That helps push the video out there farther. And I do appreciate all the likes and all the comments, and I appreciate you guys spending part of your day with me. That's your time, and your time is valuable. Time is our most precious commodity, so never take it for granted. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off here for today. Just know that we're still waiting on these sunspots down here to do what they're capable of doing. They're capable of producing X-class solar flares. The solar flare that occurred today was from right up here, 4299. It was an overachiever for the sunspot size. It's not very big. It produced a solar tsunami and an M8 solar flare that sent a shockwave to the Earth, followed by 11 minutes later now, 11 minutes. Here's the time of the 7.0. You can't make this stuff up. Look. Here, I'll show you one more time, just for those of you that didn't know. The 7.0 occurred at 2041 Universal Time, okay? The M8 solar flare occurred at 2030 Universal Time, 11 minutes apart. You had the solar flare, solar tsunami, big earthquake, 7.0. And then, of course, the volcano was acting up first. The volcano started really getting its act together around 6 o'clock this morning, Arizona time. 6 o'clock in the morning, Hawaii time, 9 o'clock in the morning, Arizona time. So it's been doing it all day, and it's throwing fountains 1,000 feet. That is a big deal. All right, guys, that is all I got for today. I'll keep you updated on any changes that we have coming up with the large sunspots, earthquakes, and erupting volcanoes. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.